Talking about divorce this evening, and perhaps before we can even start the show, let me just say, it's most probably going to be a sensitive topic, so we'd like to urge you to please be aware of that, right? So, like we always do, 0800-142-446. That's the toll-free number. If you want to get a hold of us, we'll be very delighted to hear from you. And I believe that we've got social media as well. If you'd like to comment on social media, the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development on Facebook, you can put your comments there. We're on Twitter as well at DOJCD_ZA, DOJCD_ZA. We're available there as well. I don't really must let's talk about these things. And I would like to believe that by the end of the show, you and I are going to be learning a few things, but we're also going to be cognizant of some of the things that might need to change in yours and my life as well, in terms of making sure that we get away from this animal that we're going to be talking about, especially when you're married. We're talking about divorce, by the way, just in case you've missed it. What is it? I always start like that. What is divorce in terms of the legal perspective in South Africa?
Sure. For me, divorce is a very painful process, because it is a process in terms of which a marriage, either concluded in terms of the Civil Marriages Act or the Civil Unions Act or the Customary Marriages Act, gets dissolved by a court of law. For me, it is painful because I don't think that many people realize or actually comprehend the consequences that actually accompany the divorce process. It is not an easy process at all, because now you are terminating a marriage, you are terminating a relationship, you are disintegrating a family, you are getting the children to be disposed as well.
When there are kids there.
Correct, yes.
There are other things, though, that are attached to, as far as the consequences are concerned. There are other things that could be disturbed when this process is undertaken. Things like assets, for instance, if one's got a business, for instance. Tell us about that.
Sure. Firstly, I think we need to look at it from the point that there are two types of divorces. Right? Okay. You have the opposed divorces and the unopposed one. The unopposed one is when the parties are not having major issues to actually argue about. They are in an agreement that, we have lived this particular relationship, and now it is time for us to just go left and right, and then but then the one that is particularly painful is the opposed divorce, because there the parties are saying, we need to look at the division of our assets. We need to look at what is going to happen with these children going forward. We need to look at how are we going to actually maintain these children, how are we going to share our assets going, and there people really fight. And such kind of divorces can take between 3 to 5 years to actually be finalized.
Conclusion, yeah. 0800-142-446. I'm sure by now I would like to believe by now so Zuideguti to this evening. Let me invite you to take part in the show. 0800-142-446. It's a toll-free number if you're going to be calling from a landline. If you're calling from a cell phone, call us in. We'll take your details down and we'll call you back. We're available on Facebook as well, the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development, and on Twitter it's DOJCD_ZA. That's DOJCD_ZA. One of the questions that was populated for me is one that's got to do with the qualification of divorce. So in other words, who qualifies for a divorce?
Okay. Firstly, you must have been married in terms of either the Marriages Act or the Civil Marriages Act or the Civil Unions Act or the Customary Marriages Act. Then you feel that, or you have the view that the marriage has irretrievably broken down to an extent that there are no reasonable prospects for the restoration of a healthy relationship between yourself and the spouse. So if that is the case, because remember, South Africa subscribes to a no-fault divorce rule, then you can approach either the High Court or the Regional Court of the Magistrate Court, and then institute a divorce. In many instances, it is advisable to actually consult an attorney who is a specialist in family law issues, because divorce is a very complicated process. It is not easy at all, especially where there are pension funds, there are assets, there are retirement annuities, there are children and all that. Rather consult and strive towards going towards mediation. Rather mediate, because some of us, we turn our marriage space into a battlefield to the extent that by the time the divorce is finalized, we have nothing.
Okay.
We have nothing emotionally, psychologically, financially, and otherwise.
We're destroyed.
We are destroyed
because
of this particular. So it's actually advisable for one to actually consult, and sometimes maybe whilst you're still consulting, you may even reconcile. Exactly, because sometimes the emotions are very high when you feel I'm going to walk away.
Yeah.
But you find that if you involve the family, if you involve a mediator who is actually not biased at all, then you can find a solution, and then maybe you can leave the process. I have seen people who have reconciled during that particular course and decided, let's try again.
So you've seen people who started the process, a divorce.
Yes.
They there now.
Yes.
Right. This is where they're going.
Yes.
And then the introduction of a mediator comes in, and all balls change towards a different direction.
Let's try again.
Yeah.
And then they're going to try again.
Because I don't want to say sense it's knocked into them, but some things were said that they were not thinking about.
Exactly.
And they took those things into cognizance.
Take me back to those happy days.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
we tend to forget.
Yeah.
Why go to the get launch? They don't check on them. It's a really get home again. 17 after 6 o'clock. 0800 142 446. That's 0800 142 446. Give us a call. We're talking about divorce. How does it affect our lives? What is it that we can do to? Now I believe what I want to say. What is it that we can do to avoid it, especially when I know when she starts doing that, we're 20 minutes into the show. By 20 past, seriously. But now seriously, I mean, not only do we want to talk about how it works and the processes and all of that, I like to believe we've got a responsibility as people. Let's discuss this animal. And but if you've never been there, you cannot be talking about it. I'm a firm believer, if you've never been there, you can at least be part of the conversations about it, so that you can learn. You don't need to experience something to know about it. That's what I believe.
And you can give a partial and independent view. About it. I think for me there are a variety of things that actually contributes to divorce. Number one, I think it's firstly, people may enter into a marriage not having a common goal and a common objective. I've got my own principles, I've got my own issues, I've got my own whatever, but then we had failed to actually discuss them prior to entering into the marriage.
Before even we hold it right there. I think that you mentioned something earlier before we start the show, and I'm hearing you're talking about part of it, so that you can come with it properly. Are marriages still common today?
No, I've looked at the statistics from Status A. The statistics are really skyrocketing, where we are divorcing instead of getting married. And secondly, for me, marriage is no longer a norm. It's no longer a norm in the sense that people prefer to actually cohabit instead of getting themselves entangled.
Why?
In the
you see, that's the thing.
Part of lifestyle. You have choice.
You know what really surprises me about the whole thing? I'll tell you this: is that you are able to date a person for, say, 6 months, 7 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, even, and then you decide to get married, and you're all excited about getting married, and everything is fine. Then you get married. And then 3 months down the line,
I always say marriage is a different space altogether. I am, firstly, I want to be the horse that is actually winning this race.
Yes.
Then sometimes when I'll get into my marriage and then feel like, I don't have to anymore. I know Karabo and all. But the bottom line is, I always say, have a common goal and an objective as a couple Do not get married simply because the biological clock is ticking. Do not get married because the society is looking at you and saying, but Josephine, you are getting 40 years old and then it has got nothing to do with them. Do not get married simply because everyone that I that I went to high school with are now married. No.
Yes.
Have a solid reason why you are entering into, because marriage isn't all that. Linyalo asipabadi.
As a pop and fleece.
And I think the other thing is that we fail to distinguish between the actual wedding celebration and the marriage itself.
So, so the glam and the glitz and all of that and the shiny
on the
wedding day does not necessarily mean,
does not translate into the actual marriage, because in the actual marriage, that's where there's going to be test of character. We're going to start talking about what are you bringing to the table, how much is your income, where are we going to stay, how are we going to pay the call out, and then the topic is all about the child school fees, the bond, the electricity, the whatever. Whereas come Joe Melis Gilava. This weekend.
Yeah.
So in the marriage, Arabula Kajava Kokai, Eva Tom Dimu, Kifuni like so Barre Repatele, it is in areas. There was no such.
I'm telling you.
Now we are in a marriage. Now we're combining our salaries in their short. And then can I leave? But you brought me here. They are short.
So the glitz and glam, it does not translate to a happy marriage in the future. I'll tell you a story. Where's my wife? My wife is on here. Let me tell you the story very quickly. Okay, okay, let me leave it. Okay, let's take Padko from Ali. No, you might walk in. Padko from Aliwal North. Good evening to you, sir. Padko. Padko Mantima Radio, bro. You work at a radio station. You know how these things work. How's it? Kishabu Kurukman. Yeah.
Since a couple is in process of divorce, and then while family process their divorce, by a phone now, Bagadula in making ilu Dalbabi, while value process your divorce.
Okay. All right.
Put it up, baby. Make that out table. Hide it at one, find it batata without consent about driving 2 days on the school of school. Then when I'm put the other Gamun, then night to put them to the other. My magistrate didn't get a knock at Chadaluanina, and then Uputia to the witness. Have it divorce and Oakman of about him who is a because I know chief advice a guy for Bachuabacha or appealing to the Bakadi and then at the end of the day, there will be consequences in the carry divorce and then Oakman at divorce you are ananigated and then. Thank you so
much, Patko. Thank you for your support. Thank you, Takalani Community Radio, for taking part in this broadcast of this evening. Gavin, you in Rodeport. Gavin? Gavin in Rodeport.
Hi, good evening, sir. How are you, my brother?
I'm very well. Thank you so much, Gavin.
My friend, when I thought I was divorced, but now what happened was a couple of months back. Okay, let me just tell you my story briefly. My wife decided that things weren't working out too fine between us, etc., which I respect that. And at the end of the day, I went to hard time since 2010 and so forth. I was eventually put out of the house and so forth. I decided to move down to Cape Town. In Cape Town, I went to go work on the ships. Got back to Johannesburg because my daughter arrived back from the US. And bottom line, my brother, is I went to go claim my Providence Fund at the metalwork industry. When I got there, they required that I needed to bring my divorce papers and so forth.
Okay.
And so forth, which I didn't have, and so I was on me that time and so forth. I went back, I decided, let me go to the old lady because you know what I'm saying. I went there, I asked her for the divorce papers, she gave me funny looking papers. I went to metalworkers industry, they say they don't, that's not what they require and so forth. And I went to the courts. When I got to the court said to me that, who told you divorced? I said, no, I don't understand the system now because I'm not the person that that I like to stay undercover and so forth. You know. What happened was the divorce went through, but she phoned me the night before we got divorced. She asked me not to come to the court case. You see, now I just want to ask and then what was discussed in there, etc., etc. I wasn't going to dispute anything, etc. I just wanted it to go off smoothly. Okay, they accused me of being an alcoholic, which I wasn't, etc., etc. There was a lot of things and so forth. I accepted it. I moved on in life and so forth. But like I said, when I got to the metal workers industry, they required this and so forth. I went back to her and so forth. Yes, she got the divorce, etc., etc. But the estate hasn't been split. You see.
Okay. All right.
She was bamboozling me all along. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So now when I required the certificate, the degree of divorce, she couldn't give me that.
Even now, she can't give you that, right?
Yeah, she can't give it to me because the estate is still not what it. Like I said, she phoned me. She asked me not to come to court, and she promised to give me some money to keep my mouth quiet and so forth. But now, this is now what's happening.
All right, Gav.
My brother. Okay.
Hold the line. Say again.
I'll listen over the radio.
Just hold the line a bit before you wanna engage him beforehand. All right, Gav.
Okay.
Gav, thank you so much. Listen on the radio, and let's see how we can deal with it.
You have a blessed evening, my brother. And
you too.
Also.
Thank you.
Bless.
Thank you so much. 27 after 6, 0800 142 446. Rubela mo ka tlhalano, rubela ka divorce, mara o rubela ka speed ya tlhaba bana. Ish, no rubela ka speed ya tlhaba, serious. Okay, here's the two questions. Let's start with Gavin's one.
Yeah, I like more Gavin's one because it takes us to the divorce processes. Please remember that divorce process is initiated by a summons. One can obtain the summons at the regional court of the magistrate court, or can get the attorney to assist them in terms of getting the summons issued. However, the divorce summons is very unique. It gets to be served only by the sheriff. No one can just phone you and say to you, come to court, you are getting divorced. The summons must be served on you as the defendant in person. And then the sheriff will then produce what we call a return of service, and then it needs to be filed at court. So if you have never been contacted by the sheriff who gave you that particular summons, then there can never be divorce proceedings initiated. And then thereafter, once that is done, then as the defendant, then you have the responsibility to actually enter what we call notice to defend the action, and thereafter file your plea. That is, a plea is a statement wherein you will be answering to the allegations contained in the summons. And once those pleadings have been exchanged, then the person who initiated the divorce then must go back to the court and then set the matter down for hearing at court. Then that's when you can decide whether you are settling the matter or you are going to appear in court or you are not going to appear in court. But what Buti Gavin was saying, it sounds very, very shady. Because now he has been getting telephone calls from the wife or the ex-wife, but he has never been contacted by the sheriff. You cannot get a telephone call when it comes to divorce because these divorce summons are very unique. They must be served on you. They cannot even be given to your friend. They cannot even be attached on your gate or on your door. They must be given to you. So in order for him to verify whether he's divorced or not, then he can go and check at the Department of Home Affairs as well to check his marital status.
Okay. Now, having said that point of which we explained it just now, right? Taking that point into consideration and lining up with this point where Gavin says there's no divorce decree.
Yes.
Could you safely say Gavin is not divorced?
I can safely say that Gavin is not divorced, especially in light of the fact that he never received any visit from the sheriff. Number two, there are no court records, because otherwise then the court would have revealed. Because remember, the court has a jurisdiction to actually hear a divorce matter if you've been domiciled in that particular area or you have been resident in that particular for a period of more than 1 year. So if you've never had anything, then I don't think he was divorced, unless if Gavin could not be traced, and then the wife did what we call substituted service, meaning that the summons was actually advertised in the newspaper circulating in the area where he was residing.
Which I doubt, because he was able to be traced. Exactly. Because she was able to call him, right?
Exactly, exactly. So I can safely say that I don't think he is.
So for his peace of mind, he must go to the Home Affairs office
and then go and verify his marital status.
If he finds out that indeed he is not divorced, what can he do? I don't want to perpetuate Lozidi wrong,
Yeah.
but I feel Gavin and his wife, whatever the reasons were for them to want to divorce, it's their problem, right? It's their issue. We can't get involved with that. But I can tell you one thing. I feel that he's been done wrong.
True.
What can he do?
If indeed he's not divorced, and then he feels that he wants out of the marriage, he qualifies. Remember, he qualifies to go and institute a divorce because he's a spouse in a marriage.
Let's not even talk about going for divorce.
Yeah.
Just these actions that were taken against him, being treated like he's divorced, getting phone calls, and being centered around. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say.
Unfortunately, those are allegations. Unfortunately, they are allegations. But if he can prove them, I can't see in law that he can have any remedy, around that. But the best way would be for him, if he wants out, he can go and institute divorce himself at the regional court where the wife is staying.
Okay. All right. 0800 142 446. That's 0800 142 446. Patko says, there's a problem about, a lot of people do this. They get married and the parents don't know.
Yeah.
At all. They don't know.
And that is the most dangerous thing ever. And let me tell you why. Imagine I'm married to Karab and my parents don't know, then tomorrow I die. Then who's going to bury me?
Okay, now you...
My spouse or my family. You see, and these are the things that we do not think about. We take marriage for granted. And marriage is a contractual obligation. We take it for granted. Imagine tomorrow I die and you find that there are pension funds and then there are assets and all those kind of things. And my family is thinking, but Josephine hana moto. And then there they go to the pension funds and everything, then voila. They find this person has been married for the past 5 years and she was even married in community property. So you've got no business coming here.
Yeah.
So people, please understand that a marriage gives rise to rights and obligations as between the spouses. Asinto glare arno yanko department rilo sign. Let's sign a fail, the consequences. Hence I'm giving this example that imagine if that happens and then I die. Then my family finds out I've since changed my surname, making us mama.
It's been 5 years.
And it's been 5 years. So how I fit my first call, how I the certificate to a filing relay. Imagine the embarrassment on your family. Imagine the embarrassment and imagine the consequence that can come out of this kind of conduct. Yeah.
Yes.
So rather, let your family know, go through all the processes so that in case something happens, then go ahead and
this thing about complicated. Because I want a divorce or it can be so complicated.
It can be. It can be, and for instance, can I also give another complicated example?
Please.
Where you find my parents passed away. They've left a property to me and my siblings.
Yeah.
Now I go and get married in community of property. Before the actual transfer of that property can take place, and then we give an heir.
Yes.
Of that particular estate.
Yes.
Do you know what that means if I'm married in community of property?
It means your siblings are not going to get. Oh my goodness.
It means my husband is part of that particular estate as well.
He's a primary beneficiary.
Exactly. And then I'm going to complicate it further. Then I pass away in the process. Then my siblings are now having to deal with this stranger that they don't even know.
And the stranger's got rights,
yes.
More than that.
The issue of him marrying me, especially if the parents did not exclude that particular estate from the operations of future marriages.
Oh my God. Oh.
So we need to speak about this thing. They woke up to find out they share in the property of their parents. They actually share it with their spouses, and now the spouse or divorce or buy me out. And and these are the dynamics that we are not even talking about. So I'm actually answering to Abuti Pasco's question that we need to tell people you can think how you are going to sign, and then tomorrow consequences arise. But anyway, I can sign with you, kama bitwa maka, kafita ka disappear.
And then you're stuck.
then I'm stuck.
Shit, can you believe it? 25 before 7. 0800 142 446. Let's turn to Uleboheng from Mafikeng. Uleboheng is on the line. Okay, my producer is just giggling on the other side. I don't have a clue why, and I'm not going to ask you. Oh, okay. I see why I'm so just giggling.
Okay.
He's laughing because my wife has just walked in and I was scared to tell a story thinking she's going to walk in, and now she's walked in for real, and I'm not telling this story, you can believe me. Uleboheng, how you doing, my brother? Let's talk.
Yeah, it was divorce that.
Yeah.
So my wife now it's almost a year now since I took the month.
Okay.
And then I passed now Aswa, and then about and then I want to set the amount.
All right.
And then got the acceptor, and then I the acceptor, and then the before so I got the amount. And then I am denied access to see my children, no?
So why you now also a major band?
Yes, and then I also be advocate the parenting plan about the high salary morale.
Okay.
Okay, because some of the negative find out to change the banana the polo, it's fine, so right. And then we are not going to speak in terms, right?
Okay.
Okay, and the package could go on to banana bandina access, but ultimately the honor the best to the the principal and understand the corner about. All right. And then the other thing more pricing are high. And then also some of the assets, it's not going to dispose it. So we sold them in Ale, making Ale, but why the state of the pricing are high. So it's important for a while, and then first thing that happened, what I had this decision to come on next facility. So I have turn over and then half of my happened also. It's a medical cheated in the so on a whole monthly and TV let the monthly get to say the next one after or no motor to the deal. Then I can get my food like a bella lane, then I have a big color back and then make it somewhere. So if you're on a problem over young data or a neano, how much answer I do a monthly, listen divorce. And I hope see because of ultimate class and that I've worked about a horror. I think total the guy, but not a capital and not for this is the Nakamonto. The number follow it the Panabo. Give her a Chapana buyer out now. Give man of you first preference because of a night Monto. And not my Monto. And now more carry because on Namonto. So the first preference or a Panama buyer out of Hotaliana or Hanaho contest or Leonard. So you make it to the table.
All right. Uleboheng, just before you go, let me ask you one more question. And I'm going to ask it because I'm very sensitive when it comes to issues like that. Ki issue about
yeah.
These children, are they your biological kids?
Yes.
Yeah.
I cannot contact the
I can imagine.
Yeah, so I buy it, I go this starting that
What's any decision without consulting you?
Yes.
Which without even consulting you?
Yes, and then I was about to share them on now the law, your particular school fee,
and you do those things, very better than the school fees, but now about to to the best of your ability, can you go highlight?
No, never actually, but I can't say Marmon because Kefabana officially is not good because when I almost now she's 15 years. So I don't facility a car alone, but one ultimate to condemn a hand. Yeah. But the marble on a horrible line, I'll be silent. So to avoid the issue, I want to go on what you're for Nakaki Canada. This is trying to get up a Javana.
All right. And then the in-laws in both sides were they consulted?
In-laws, it's one of the two billion.
Mudisan, I was scared you're going to say something like that, bro.
Yes, the sisters, yeah.
All right. Thanks for the courage, Alfaruna Bruaga. We really appreciate your call. And then
the outcome.
Okay.
All
right, bro. Okay, listen on the radio, all right? Basimani, you are from Rustenburg.
You are from Hey, Karabo,
Shaporin bro.
Sapsap. A few questions here.
Ke tlo romela missile go ntlong wa hao ke thube ke bombe radio ya hao.
Okay, no,
go for it, my brother.
The first question that I want to ask the advocate there.
Yeah.
For the marriage to be, before we go to the issue, divorce. For the marriage to be ascertained, to be confirmed legal. What are the who can marry who? What are the? I know during the era of apartheid, there was this act, immorality act, where a white person or a black person or an Indian person could not marry the other one. I just want to check with her for the marriage to be confirmed legal. What are the requirements? Can I marry my cousin? Can I marry somebody related to me? Are there any restrictions to that? That is my first question.
Okay.
The second question that I want to ask here, is there a minimum period or prescribed period where people can institute divorce to say, can I marry today and decide that I'm getting married, divorced tomorrow, or is there a prescription so that no, you have to wait for 3 months or 5 months or 6 months or whatever period? That's the second question. The third question, in her experience, what are the most common grounds of divorce? And then my final question, I'm a law student, by the way, so I want to ask you to explain a little bit on conjugal rights. For our conjugal rights, strong reasons for divorce. Those are my questions.
Conjugal right. Abo le advocate mo lo la mabitso a mang na re imela. Le re ke toma ke ba ke conjugal.
The advocate will understand for it.
We understand that na conjugal le la ngao. Le re ke conjugal.
Sexual rights.
Conjugal rights.
Hey, but for great food, thank you so much, Masimani. I really appreciate your call, my brother. 18 minutes before 7 o'clock. Let's go to Amina from Cape Town. I've just been there, by the way. Just landed a couple of hours ago. Amina?
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you so much.
I'm phoning from the Western Cape.
Okay.
I just got something I want to ask you a question.
Go for it.
I got a friend that was married for 15 years in community of property with this lady.
Okay.
Okay. So he went to the lawyer to make his divorce. He applied for the divorce. But now the lawyer takes so long, 2 years now, to let the divorce go through. Every time the lawyer got a problem, he say this and that and that. Now he say the wife wants to sit round table to know what he wants and what she wants. But he don't come further. He just say the divorce is going through, but nothing happened. So he wants to know what can he do and where can he go to find out about this divorce, because why? She went to the legal aid now for the divorce. But she was a school teacher now. He don't know how can the legal aid still help her if she was a school teacher and she get money. But they were married in community of property now. I don't know if it's a lawyer by outside or is it the lawyer or is it the court. Can you please explain on radio what can we do about this?
All right. Thank you so much, Amina from Cape Town in the Western Cape. We appreciate your call. 0800 142 446. Let's start with Amina. We'll work our way backwards, okay. Right?
Can I first start with Patko's question, because he posed a question about can couples still stay together whilst they are going through a divorce?
Oh, yes, okay.
It's up to them, because remember, you may find that they are jointly owning the property and they're just only waiting for the dissolution of the joint assets. So it is actually their right. Nothing prevents them from actually staying together, so they can.
All right.
And then with Amina, I would advise Amina's friend to actually visit the regional court of the area where he is currently residing, just to go and find out if the summons was indeed issued against the wife, and if it was indeed served, and what he can actually do, because at the court he will find the register of the court who will give them guidance as to how to take the process forward.
Okay.
Because remember, you have a choice. You can either approach the court directly or you can approach the court through an attorney or a lawyer.
Right. Okay, and
the other thing that he was also asking was she was also asking was about how can a person still go through the legal aid when they were still there. She said it may happen that now they do not have the income.
Okay.
To actually,
it means there's made
exactly.
and they were qualified.
So that's why they actually help them. And then Bashima, Bashima's questions are very interesting. He wanted to find out as to what are the requirements of a valid marriage. It depends as to which type of marriage are you entering into. Remember, we once explored the types of marriages in South Africa. And we said marriage in terms of the Civil Marriages Act, and then the one in terms of the Civil Unions Act or the Customary Marriages Act.
Right.
Firstly, you must be 18 and above, and then if you are below 18, then your parents must then consent, or the Minister of Social Development must then consent to that particular marriage. Then there must be an agreement with regard to the lobola if it is a customary marriage, and then both parties must then sign the marriage register, and then the appointed marriage facilitator must then officiate on that particular marriage. In many cases, then we find them in the Home Affairs, or you can find that you have your priest actually officiating that particular marriage. Then you will get proof of that marriage in the form of the marriage certificate or the registration certificate, depending on which way you are going. And then he was asking about, can you marry a cousin or whoever, as long as you are not blood related, in the sense that I'm your biological sister. You can get married.
Oh, so in cousin
if there are no blood relations. Yeah, but then remember, I cannot marry my biological brother because then it's going to be incest.
Of course.
Yeah, I can't. But then there are other cultures where if they are not direct biological relations, then you can get married.
Okay.
And then he wanted to find out about the prescribed period regarding divorce. We spoke about this, that in terms of the statistics, marriages these days last at least 3 months. And we can get married today and then tomorrow I decide, so
you can do it within hours.
It is happening.
Within hours?
It is happening. It is happening. Some people are even advertising it that I was married for 3 weeks and then I'm getting divorced. It is happening. Remember, it's a no-fault divorce system. I do not have to have an actual reason why. I do not have to say, Kara was not sleeping at home and all that. I just have to allege that the marriage has irretrievably broken down to an extent that there are no reasonable prospects for the restoration of a healthy relationship.
Miss Peta, remember you're under oath.
Yes, I am. And then he spoke about the conjugal rights concept. For me, it is more of a common law concept, or a common law principle. It talks about sexual relations. The right to sleep with your spouse and your spouse to also sleep with you. Things like those. But due to the no-fault divorce, I have not seen this dominating much as a reason why the marriage is disintegrating. I have not seen it dominating that much because of now you just have to allege that the marriage is irretrievably broken down.
All right. Here's an issue here. Oleboheng called in, and big ups to you, Oleboheng. There's not many people that can take up courage and call the radio station and talk about these things. 1 year out of the house, the wife has left him in the house. It's been a year already. He was served with summons. But now there's issues with regards to this. The divorce is underway at the moment. He does not get access to see the children. There was a parenting plan that was put in place, but it looks like the wife is defaulting on the parenting plan.
Okay,
right?
I'm going to unpack this as follows. Number one, when the parents are going through a divorce process, it's advisable for them to really indeed get a parenting plan. So that it outlines how they're going to maintain the relationship with the children. And we can also even have interim measures put in place that the children will in the meantime reside with the father or reside with the mother, subject to the other parents' rights of contact. Now, in Oleboheng's case, there is already a parenting plan, so I'm assuming that it has either made an order of the court or it was registered with the Office of the Family Advocate. And I would like to warn Lebogan's wife that in terms of Section 35 of the Children's Act, she is committing a crime. She's committing a crime in the sense that now she's denying Lebogang access to the children, whereas there is a standing parenting plan. That parenting plan, once it is registered by the Office of the Family Advocate, it has the same status as a court order.
Okay.
Lebogang can go to court and institute contempt of court proceedings, but I will advise against that. I would rather say go back to the court and get the court to get the Office of the Family Advocate to then conduct an investigation as to what the actual bottlenecks are with regard to the contact regime. There is a problem there, and my problem is that he was talking about a 15-year-old now being a responsible adult in a way, managing finances and all that. That for me is what we call parallel parenting, in the sense that he is parenting on the other side, and that could be a contributor to the actual conflict between him and the wife. Because remember, the wife is still the wife. They are not accessed as yet until the court issues a court order.
Okay.
So I will advise that he must go to the children's court. You know, it is free of charge, and then go and say that I've got a standing parenting plan that is not being complied with by the mother of the children, so that then the children's court can immediately put in interventions in place for him to be able to have a relationship with the children. Because remember, it is all about the relationship with the children. Number two, he actually spoke about the fact that they've not wound up the estate, but the wife gets into the house and then removes things one by one.
Yeah.
Again, Lebogan's wife, you are committing what you call disposition without value. Yeah. Because now she is busy disposing of the assets of the community of estate without the other spouse. She must tread carefully, because the other spouse can also go to the police and says this is theft, because you can't be removing things.
You can equate it to theft.
Yes, because she cannot be removing things. Yeah. Because she must account for those things. Because how do we then calculate those assets when somebody's busy removing them without the consent of the other party?
Yes.
And then and they may be married in community property, but they still need to account to the assets. She cannot be removing these assets up until the divorce is finalized, because otherwise then in the summons then they cannot mention those assets because they are no longer there.
Okay.
So that is prejudicing Lebogang. Alternatively, Lebogang can then claim half of the value of those assets because they've already been removed.
Okay, yes, I
he can do that.
Right.
The other issue that
he mentioned something that's got to do with who gets preference or first preference.
Yes, that will be dependent on them. That are they going to oppose the divorce in the literal sense of the word, of saying let the court make a decision for us? Alternatively, are they going to then sit down, which I actually recommend that they do, have a round table sitting with a mediator or with both their lawyers, and then decide how we're going to deal with this assets. For instance, let's say their house is subject to a bond, then the bond is still operational whilst they are going to divorce. Then they must decide who is going to remain in the house and then who is then going to then pay this bond going forward. They need to make that decision themselves. Otherwise, if they fail to agree and they are managing community property, then the court is going to appoint a liquidator and a receiver for them.
In an instance, you're sharing an asset like a house, for instance, and the one party says, let's sell, the other party says, let's not.
Then already there's a disagreement.
Then, so it's likely that the court will take a decision.
Yes, the court will take a decision.
The court will consider whatever it considers.
Exactly.
Okay, issues and all of that.
But parties must remember that do not concentrate on the fight such that you dissipate your joint estate before you even get divorced. In actual fact, I would advise that you get an evaluator who then says to them that this house is worth this much, and whoever is going to remain then must pay the other one this particular amount. That is what I'm saying. It is always up to them. People must not abdicate their responsibilities to the court. It is their assets. It is their marriage. Okay. They should be the one to take responsibility and have a handle on the marriage itself.
All right. Let's go to Asiri from Pretoria. Asiri, Pretoria. Asiri going once.
Yes, my brother, how are you? I even feel like two champions on that question. What was it that you wanted to ask? But let me not.
Hey, bro, I know you live you. Go for it.
I want to ask you, let's say now I find out that I'm married to someone that I didn't even know, but this person is traceable. What do I then do? Do I open a case, or do I just go file for a divorce and then open a case? Number two, then now there's a family that comes out. They say to me, we just found out that you were married to our relative, and you were married in community of property. Then this relative of ours has passed away. What do I do then? Do I go help them and also take my share, even though the person I didn't know?
Okay. Hey, okay. All right. Is it the only ones that you have, Asiri?
Yeah, those are the only questions.
Thank you so much, Bruaga. Thank you so much for calling in. See, hey, Tada. Raymond from Grahamstown. I'd like to believe this is Raymond from Rhodes Community Radio. Okay, Nane. Ray.
Yes, sir.
I'm good, and you?
I'm good, sir.
I got eyes everywhere.
I see.
Go for it.
Thank you very much, Karavan. Thanks to Mrs. Adon for such a very sensitive but needed conversation.
Yeah.
I'll start with my question, and I'll give a bit of a background afterwards, so that then perhaps I can be able to get on system.
All right.
Question is, how many times can a person get married, and how many times can a person be divorced? Here's the situation. So there's this person who was married, and married to a person who she was fully aware that the man was married before, and the man and the previous wife, they divorced. The woman who was married to that man was also married elsewhere, so he was also married to now this man. Now the man passed away, and during the estates being dispersed to the relevant people, the previous woman then comes and claims the house, and she comes with what would be deemed as a valid marriage certificate, whereas the current woman also have what she feels is a valid marriage certificate. So the situation now is both women are saying we've got a valid marriage certificate. It appears as if the man is married to two women at the same time, whereas he was surely aware that the woman was divorced. And perhaps the reason why that was assured was because the woman was also married with a marriage certificate elsewhere. So hence then my question is, how is it possible for a person to be married, or how many times can a person be married and divorced all at the same time?
Or maybe rather the question should be, can somebody marry multiple people at the same time?
Mm.
Okay.
Because how many times you can get married as many times as you want. Well, I'm not encouraging it, but technically, yeah.
Yeah, I mean at the same time.
At the same time, yeah.
Be married.
Yeah.
Can I have 3 marriage certificates and 3 of divorces at the same time? That's what I'm getting into.
Yeah.
Because now these two people are saying that we are both married to this one, but this woman, perhaps the one who was expected to be divorced.
Okay.
She comes with a marriage certificate from the relationship she's in and the current one.
All right, okay. Yeah. All right, I hear you. Thank you so much, Raymond from Grahamstown. It's a Rhodes Community Radio. Let's go to Nomusa Klulu from Durban. Nomusa Klulu. Nomusa. Going once, going twice. Because you're from Durban, I'm going to say it in Zulu. So, Faribondini. All right, Nomusa, you're gone. I think that was the last person that we can take, guys. We're looking at the time. We've only got 6 minutes to wrap this up. Okay, let's work our way backwards again. All right, Raymond, let's tackle his question.
Okay, the minute one starts talking about a marriage certificate, then to my mind comes the Civil Marriages Act of 1961, which does not allow polygamy at all. So meaning that I cannot have 2 marriage certificates for 2 spouses at the same time. For me to be able to get the second marriage certificate, I must divorce the first one.
Kika, the act,
yes. And then when you go to Recognition of Customary Marriages Act, yes, you can. It does allow polygamy. You can marry multiple, spouses at the same time.
Yes.
But once the person starts saying marriage certificate, that is the Civil Marriages Act, you cannot have. Something is fishy there, something is wrong. And the answer they can get the answer at the Department of Home Affairs, because why? The department will then reveal what the record says, because remember they are the custodian of the marital status records.
Yeah. Right now, original customary marriage act,
yes.
Where you're saying what you can, or it allows you to.
It allows you to have.
And if you want to get divorced from that, you don't have any constitutional support. I'm trying to get to the certificate thing. You will not know. You don't have. You don't have a marriage certificate.
Remember, in terms of the Recognition of Customary Marriages Act, you can register your marriage, or you can decide not to register.
If you register, all right. Now here's 4 wives.
Yes.
Under the customary law.
Yes.
All right. Now give a age.
Yeah.
I'm fine. By 4. Number 5. Now, when you now want to register it, is it possible?
Yes.
Register them.
Yes, it's
each and every single one of them.
Yes.
And once you've registered them, what happens? Do you get a marriage certificate?
They'll have what you call the registration certificates for the marriage.
Not the marriage certificate.
Not the marriage, no. The proof is registration certificate. That's what I'm saying. When you start saying marriage certificate, then it's the Civil Marriages Act.
Now, when it comes to divorce, how does it work? I can really...
The same way. The same way. You institute the divorce. You institute
okay, so the same way you go.
Yeah, the same way. Yeah, you go and institute the divorce. The divorce court.
Yeah, but all right, let's go to Syria.
Yeah, Asari about a topic that is very close to my heart. Many people came forth and said, I just woke up and then I found out I'm somebody else's spouse, right? But when we dug deeper and then conducted what we call a diagnosis test, we found that most of them, they had participated in that rent a spouse per day thing, where you find Karabo comes here, I'm paying 10,000, there is a marriage. Yes. Most of them were parties to such kind of a thing.
Okay.
And when they meet Buma Kondan, then it falls back on them, because now Josephine has now disappeared, but in terms of the records, Josephine is still my wife.
Yes.
What do we then do? And remember, once you have participated in that particular process, that was actually fraud.
So
yeah, it was actually fraud, because we know you never intended to live as husband and wife.
And those questions are going to be asked.
Yes, they're going to be asked to say, but then what really happened? Then the department will definitely investigate the circumstances under which that marriage came about. Then you're going to have to go through those other processes, and people are still even doing it to this day. Yeah.
You're not
going to stay as husband as wife. That is a problem. Please do not partake in such. Right? And then I would say, if a family comes and say you are married to a person in community of property, and then this person has now passed away, stay away from such things. What if after family estate
yes, of course.
50%.
So what do you do? What do you do?
Why go? Because you don't know them.
So as long as you don't know them, as long as you know you've never married them.
Exactly.
When somebody, in fact, now you remind me, there's this one that's running on mobile phones. But your uncle somewhere in Britain,
he's
left, and he's left 200,000 pounds. Baratisha bank account. So most of these, even that's another entry door of these type of things.
Exactly. So it's not good, because I can just imagine I said province I put a pop. I feel like namile yona tša gagwe di gona ka mba re ngathela re diša tša gagwe o ngathele ka mona estate.
It's a problem.
That is why marriage is very, that is why that question there with Patco, it is very critical that we encourage people not to just enter into a marriage for the sake of getting married. And that's the reason why the divorce stats are skyrocketing, simply because yes, I understand there are valid reasons why a marriage disintegrates, but one biggest advice that I want to actually dish out today is that if you are going through a process of divorce, please think it through first before you go through divorce, because in all the consequences it is emotionally, psychologically and financially draining. And endeavor to actually settle out of court. Sit with this person that give me to dulang facility for the assets are into settlement agreement for bana are grandparenting plan are memorandum of understanding are the whole sort of thing will out so that because remember but they do get divorced, but they still remain in the marriage for 15 years post the divorce. I don't know if you get my knowledge. We are still engaged in that fracas for the next coming 15 years. I don't move on because we failed to come to an agreement at the inception of our challenges.
I was going to ask you for your word of advice, but I think I'll take that. This can contaminate that. All right, that's Ms. Josephine Peta, Senior Legal Administration Officer, coming from the Office of the Family Advocate, somebody that we call on to, especially when we're dealing with matters like this. It stood out for me, that surprised me over the past couple of seconds, is the fact that Alright, thank you so much, Josephine. Really appreciate. Hope to see you again.
Thank you very much.
Alright, 7 minutes after 7 o'clock on the dot.